in the summer. We appreciate that. We're going to try to make this short and sweet tonight. The first thing we're going to do is call to order. Let's start on the other end. Cassie Haley, here, present.
Tina Adcock Thomas.
Ashley,
Emily Nixon.
Adrian McGinnis. Okay, Mark is out. So hopefully he's having a good time. Oh, hi. Hey, perfect. You just made it. We're doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, I can do that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're gonna start with our district update. Do we have staff changes this time of year? Maybe?
We do have some that have carried over, and you will see we are fully staffed with the replacements we have. So these are not new hires, these are staff replacements. And then the one at the bottom is kind of referenced at the top. We've already replaced that person. So we are great to say that we've got fully staffed right now. As of right now, we're good.
Okay, enrollment.
I've asked some of our staff to come up and present and do that periodically, so you're hearing from someone other than just me consistently. So I'll have Pam Lewis, who is our district registrar, come up and talk about our enrollment status.
Pam, long time no see.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. Hello.
I know you've been a busy bee.
I've been very busy the last 2 days. Just when I think I get ahead, knocks us back down again when Roger's registrars come back in to work.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a give and a take. Just moving target this time of year. So right now we're at 943 district wide. I did fill my last pre-K spot just a few minutes ago. So full for pre-K.
Do we keep wait lists for pre-K?
Yes. Yes. But I have no one on the wait list right now. I do have one on the kinder list because we're over our staffing for that grade. But still, Aaron was giving some tours, so hopefully some more enrollments there.
Any questions?
I mean, are we expecting any changes anytime? I mean,
We hope.
anything major in the next 4 or 5 weeks?
Hope not. I hope not.
How many more are we trying to fill before
Well,
school starts?
Ideally, we would love to fill as much as possible, so if we could get another 40, we would be great. So
Yeah, we're getting pretty full. 5th and 6th are pretty full. 3rd. But yeah, 7th to 12th, I mean, we're always.
Are the 40 all in high school?
Yeah.
7, 12, or 9, 12?
7, 12.
Thank you. Elementary, Rachel.
Summer. Hope you guys are having a great summer. We are getting back into it. So you have a little packet of all the different things that I would love to invite you to. We have the first thing that's happening is Kinder Camp. It's the green one. We started this 2 years ago and it's been incredibly helpful. Instead of doing individual screening of kindergartners, we invite all of them to come in at once because we can screen them for speech and kind of our OT person kind of looks to see what's going on. We do the alphabet and colors and kind of a little academic screening, but we also are looking at their personalities and how they interact with each other. Our teachers get to know them a little bit. We have a rotation. They also go to the cafeteria like they're getting lunch to get a little snack. And so it makes it an easier entry for them, but also we then meet with our kindergarten teachers and we talk about which kids go into which class. So we have a much better idea of what kind of group we're going to have. So it makes things a lot easier because it's so hard to place kids that we don't really know, although there are always surprises, but it's been a really positive event. So we're going to continue that. The next night we have our open house. We have 2 different times for our grade bands so we can hopefully get people in there without having to walk a long way. And then on August 10th, we have our kinder picnic and open house. That's when they find out who their teacher is specifically. And then we just kind of have a picnic. They get to play on the playground all by themselves and just celebrate coming right before they start. And then August 17th, we have our pre-K ice cream social. That's kind of their version of open house because pre-K starts a week later than kindergarten or than K6. So they start on Wednesday, August 19th. And so we have a little ice cream social with them before that. So we would love for you to come to any of those that you would like. The kinder picnic does have food and the ice cream social does have ice cream. So if you're picking one, those are some good ones to go to. And those kids are just about as good as they can be. All right, so I will give you, I feel like I've talked about their grade promotion every time I've been up here, but I have more. So this is from back in May. We had 8 of our students were a level 1 in ELA. We had summer school, so 7 of our students chose to attend summer school. 1 did not choose to attend. At the end of summer school, 5 of those students tested, so we were able to re-give that ELA test for 3rd grade. 2 of the kids had already qualified for good cause exemptions before we even did this, but they tested anyway. We had 1 student that we had already had conversations with mom all throughout the year, and we were going to retain her anyway. She was young for her grade. She needed more time. We'd already talked about it and decided, but she attended summer school anyway, and she did not test. So 4 out of the 5 kids that we tested moved to a level 2 in reading from a level 1, which is awesome. We had 1 kid did not move to a level 2 in reading, but they already qualified for a good cause exemption. So they already qualified to move up, but they did make enough growth that we felt comfortable saying that they could move on with the supports they get in 4th grade. Our average was 13 points of growth in reading from the spring. So just from May to mid-June, these kids grew 13 points in reading. And to give some perspective, when we look at average growth over from like 2nd grade to 3rd grade, end of year to end of year, like 3, 2, 4, that's pretty normal. So we had 13 points of growth because they did very intensive test prep work, but also just all reading, all writing, all day. So it made a very big difference. So overall, we have 7 students that we're promoting to the 4th grade and 1 that we are retaining.
What did summer school look like? Just really quick.
We had,
Half day.
it was half days, it was 3 weeks. We had our dyslexia interventionists are the ones that delivered all of the instruction, and it was pretty successful. We'll try to do something like that again next year.
Could you clarify again for me? You said an average of 13 points during that period for those kids, and the average over a year.
Typical, if we aggregate all the kids, it's like, it seems to be about 3-ish points
Okay.
for the whole year. So like this super intensive. Now these kids, it was not just a summer school that they've been getting this extra. They've been getting extra support all year long, but then after the test and we saw where they were at a level 1, they were pulled out of kind of some of the extra things for the last month, like pretty much the whole month of May. They were getting extra hours of English and reading and writing instruction then. And then in addition, they also got the summer school. So it was a whole lot of, I mean, if we did about 4 or 5 hours of ELA a day, we'd have some great scores. We just may not have some happy children. And some of our other things might slip a little bit. That's very slow. So I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what we're expecting for the school year. So our vision for this next school year is to provide a more focused, rigorous, and engaging learning environment. We want our students to continue to build knowledge, skills, and perseverance. We've been doing a lot of work with our artful learning for 3 years. We've been working our sustainability plan this year while really pushing the academic piece. And this next year, we're continuing that. We're really pushing the academics and kind of marrying our artful learning units and our kind of everyday academic teaching together into one thing. We are focusing on academic growth at every grade level. Our teachers are already really familiar with the data, and they will be even more familiar. The minute we got the data back for Atlas, so many of them were already looking at individual student information. We are focusing on high quality aligned instruction. We actually have some changes in our curriculum that I'll show you in just a minute that will help with that. We are also focusing on student engagement. I believe that kids should be speaking every day in every class. about what they're learning every single day, every class. So we're working on putting structures in place to do that. And then we are always working on having a supportive and accountable school culture. So for our academic focus, our teams are already working. They have pacing guides. They look at their standards and break them down for each unit. They have high quality instructional materials, and they're looking at the individual student needs through assessments and all these different pieces. So these are some of our focuses. These are kind of the focuses we had last year as well, but we're continuing. We're really deepening, and we are perfecting what we did this last year. Our changes in curriculum. This has a little delay. So we are switching our English language arts curriculum. We did use CKLA, which was good, but it was cumbersome to use in some places, and we were looking for something else. And so we found arts and letters. It is a curriculum that focuses on, it does focus on a lot of art pieces. It brings in masterworks, which is what we do with Art for Learning too. It talks a lot about concepts, and it really uses a lot of pieces to engage kids and get them excited, and teaching them some other wider subjects other than just the reading and writing. In our math curriculum for 6th grade, we're continuing the same math curriculum for K-5, but for 6th grade, we are using Eureka Math Squared, which actually also uses art pieces in their instruction for each unit, which is fantastic for us. Our K-6 science will be using Open SciEd. It's a really comprehensive science curriculum. The really cool thing about it is it starts with a phenomenon. So for example, there was a unit where they were learning about weather patterns, and it started with these videos of like that giant hail. And so kids are watching these videos of just huge pieces of hail fall down. And so they get excited. They're wondering what causes that, what has happened there. And they start to talk about weather fronts and all these things. So every unit in Open SciEd starts with some sort of question or something that kids want to explore. So each of these curriculums is really working towards our goal of making the learning even more engaging. We have the district goal of a 60% reduction in technology use for students. We're not eliminating technology, but we want to make sure it's very intentional. We want them to be reading and writing, and we want them to be writing by hand. We want them to be discussing and collaborating more, using things in a hands-on way, using manipulatives for math and science. We want them to create original work, which is something we really do well. And we want them to be engaging directly with each other, like speaking to each other, talking, learning a lot of those social skills that we need. So that we will still have technology in the classrooms, but we want to make sure that it's very intentional when we use it, and it's not, we're not just using it just because we're not real sure what to teach right now, so we're going to put kids on a Chromebook. We are focusing on new instructional strategies. We're going to be focusing on making sure we have structured student talk routines in our lessons. We're going to be making sure that we're checking for understanding all the time. I mean, you want to know where kids are all at many points throughout every single lesson. We are going to be using explicit teaching and guided practice. We will have a lot of responsive small group instruction. We've restructured our interventions so that we have multiple grade levels at the same time, so we can mix grade levels if we need to. So if I have some first graders that are really advanced and they need some second grade work, well, they can go with some of those second grade groups. And if I have some second graders that need to have a little bit of a reminder of some first grade, they can go down with some first grade groups during that intervention time. So we are making it more flexible on what we can do to support kids during our small group time. And then we're continuing to hone our artful learning experiences. Thinking about our first Atlas test, our goals are going to be to increase the percentage of kids meeting our grade level expectations. We want to reduce, of course, kids that are performing the lowest category. Of course, we want to show growth. When we get our data, which I'll share with you guys immediately when we do get it, we'll identify those priority standards and use it to assess if we're on track. Are we doing what we need to do? Are we achieving the way that we expected to achieve? And are there any holes or any gaps that we need to look at specifically? So every assessment cycle, we will assess, we'll analyze, we'll respond, we'll monitor, we do it again. So for the new year, our back to school professional development, we get to spend 7 days with our teachers before they start with the kids. We are making sure that we have a very strong and shared academic vision. We want to have clear instructional expectations. I don't want for anyone to be wondering what it is they're supposed to be doing or what is it that we believe as a district is the right way to do school. We want for their teams to be very strong and collaborative and supportive of each other. We want to have consistent student support systems. We're going to continue with our BIST behavior intervention support program, which was very successful last year, and deepen it and just make sure it's clear and it's easy to use. We want to make sure we have plenty of time for teachers to plan and prepare because we know that there's never enough time. And so we're going to provide as much time and enough supports and structures for them. And then we're going to make sure that we're really, like I said before, marrying our curriculum, our assessments, and artful learning together so it doesn't feel clunky and like we're doing all these different things. We want it to feel cohesive. So the purpose of our week is going to make sure that our teachers are clear, they have a clear direction, and they have all the tools they need to make sure that we're implementing all of our priorities. I believe that. If you guys have any questions.
Rita, can you jump back to your vision
Yes,
for a
ma'am.
second? I think it was like the second slide.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
The only thing I like to point out to administrators is that use of the word more. If you could go back to your team and talk about whether or not you want that to be there. The reason I push back on the word more is because I've seen what you've done. I've seen what you've done over the last few years. I've seen the curriculum. I've seen how you guys have implemented artful learning. And I've heard from parents. And so I don't want that more to be an indicator that we're not doing enough.
Right.
Or that it somehow needs to be like stricter or harder or sometimes that word more can be taken in a negative light. And so that can be written without it. Our vision is to provide a focused, rigorous, and engaging learning environment without having the pressure of more on your faculty. And then your goals can be much more specific. So you put out what you want.
I appreciate that. Yeah, our goal is
I
definitely.
should have noticed that.
We definitely want to focus on the amazing things. I mean, we have grown so much in the last few years. And so I definitely don't want to put any undue pressure. I want to have the right amount of pressure, but I definitely don't want to push anyone over the edge. So I appreciate that.
Couple probably maybe questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So you said the Chromebook usage is maybe Dr. Roberts for shifted down 60% reduction from what? Where are we right now?
Well, I think that's kind of all over the place. Some use it 90%. Some use it consistently, maybe 10%. So I think right now what we're trying to do is, as a whole, as a grade level whole, how are they implementing content area without technology? And think about if their individual use in their classroom, how can they reduce it down to a minimum?
Okay, so there's not a standard principle.
No, and I think to that point of, we realize that in some cases, it was a filler. And we don't need those fillers because there are other ways we can address. Our test scores told us that we needed to really move those level 3 kids up to the highest level 4, and best practice is not on a Chromebook. That's more engagement. So that's a good question now.
Yes, and our leadership team has been working really hard to get us all the curricular materials that we need and all of the hands-on materials that we need so that there's not a need to put kids on the curriculum online pieces. So now we have everything in front of us so they can really explore all of that. And, that COVID, we just all went to 100% Chromebooks without really knowing what that was going to do. And I think we're finally starting to really see what that has done. And it's not necessarily great for learning. So especially at the elementary level, we're trying to eliminate it as much as possible, but we're trying to find that balance where they don't get to Atlas and they have to take a test completely on the computer and they're shocked. But we want them to be familiar with it, but we don't want them to go to school to be on the Chromebook. They can go home if they want and be all on technology, but we want them to be interacting with each other when they're with us.
My other question, there was a slide about when goals about increasing the percentage on grade level.
Mm-hmm.
Is there where's that slide?
I think it's about that. Oh, by the way, it's about the interim.
Increase of
Mhm.
meeting grade level expectations. Is there a percentage increase that we're aiming for, or is it just one more better?
We usually, we want to get 5 to 10% higher than the previous year interim at that same time. But we'll be looking The hard part about the interim is that the interim is on the New Year's grade level standards. So let's say I got a 3, so I was ready on my 3rd grade math atlas, but I shouldn't expect to be a 3 on my first interim because it's on 4th grade stuff. So if I don't know any 4th grade stuff, I should probably be a 1, but we will be able to look and see if that increase that we get from our first interim to our second interim pretty quickly. And we'll also be able to tell where kind of our low areas. The state tells us that the interims are really more of a building level systems check than an individual student diagnosis. Yeah. It's more about like if we already taught geometry and our geometry level is still really low in general, our strand, well, that's a problem. We need to look at that. Or if we are not seeing growth in the areas we expect to see growth in, then that's a problem, or with certain subgroups. Gotcha. So we will compare it to the previous year's interims, but we'll also compare it to where those kids were in the cohort previous years. Okay. Yeah. So it'll be kind of different for each grade level too.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point too about this building level pulse check, because we're also hoping our teachers are beginning very acclimated on how to read those assessments. So they're the ones that manage that reteach or that acceleration for kids. So we're really training, and they're doing an incredible job looking at the data and identifying this subpopulation is below grade level on this, so I need to address this, and then over here they're accelerated. So it's just this constant sort of monitor and adjust, which is, yeah, but it's great. I mean, this is one of the beauty things about Atlas. It gives us that instant feedback.
Any other questions? Thank you, guys.
So for those of you that have not met our new high school principal, Dr. Ron Mitchell. He is welcome.
Okay, first off, I'm not going to talk near that one. So happy to be here and excited to be a part of the Arts Academy, and this is going to be a fun experience, and I'm looking forward to it. Lots of energetic and creative kids, and that'll be fun. Most of the time, that'll be fun. Still get at, like Dr. Roberts said, still get a little acclimated. This is my second week, so kind of learning through the fire hose a little bit, drinking so fast it gets sprayed, but we're coming along. Finalizing the overall high school schedule for classes where they are, and making sure all the kids have 4 classes to attend every day. And Mr. Smithers and Mrs. O'Neill, our new counselor, have done a very, very good job of filling in the holes and making sure the kids all have a class to go where we don't come up, we have 4 kids show up the first day and they don't have a 3rd hour class. That would be bad. So go and make sure that happens. Preparing for the 7th grade orientation, which is August 7th. In the morning, they'll come in and we'll walk the 7th graders through their schedule and talk to the parents about expectations. You know, coming from the elementary to the middle school, that could be a challenge and different things. It's not really a different mindset, but just procedures and things will be a little different for them. And then the open house for everybody, the 8 through 12 on the 10th. I've been talking about what to do there, actually been informing me on how we do it and different ways to do it. And then last thing, we've been talking about a lot of policies and procedures, things we might do a little bit differently at the high school this year, shore up some and make sure we're being consistent with that. I told you I wouldn't talk.
We won't add to the fire.
No, it's fine. Whatever. I'll go back. One of the things, the Atlas is just a new term for me coming from Missouri. We have the same thing in Missouri. One of the things we like to call it was a guidepost on your map. You got a map of where you're going, and the interim tests are a guidepost for you to make sure you're going the right direction when you're driving on your map. And I always try to keep things in the simplest of terms because it helps me understand better. But that's what we'll use the Atlas test for. Go in and do a quick little temperature check of where the kids are, and then the teachers can come back and go, okay, this is where they're doing well, this is where they're not doing well, and be able to shore up where they're not doing well, and then keep steaming on the things that are doing well. So that's, if you wanted a small little explanation about what the interim tests are, they're simply just a pulse check or a temperature check as you're going. Any questions or comments or anything?
Thank you.
You betcha. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so for those of you that have not met Katie Ballas and Aaron Jones. It's your turn. I didn't do a good job of announcing, sorry, Aaron. These.
Next is art.
These two are now office together upstairs in the high school. And they are
We're in trouble.
tasked
We're
with
in trouble.
arts integration, artful learning, but specifically I wanted you guys to talk about how you're jumping into PD to prepare the teachers.
Absolutely. So, hello, I'm Katie Ballas. I am transitioning my office from the elementary to the high school, but my title is Director of Arts Integration Pre-K through 8. So for the Pre-K through 6, we have all of our units built. We've been working on those, and this year is going to be a real refinement process. So I'm only going to do design time with Pre-K through 6 every other week, and then the other week I'm going to be doing observations in the classroom and supports in the classroom for all of the different pieces that they're in. We're also going to very intentionally be looking at the essential standards for each one of the 4 9 weeks and make sure that those are benchmarked and addressed in an inquiry center in each one of our units so that we can stay true to those curriculum pieces. As we look at the new curriculum that we're getting this year, we're also going to be intentionally bookmarking where those standards are met in that HQIM and getting those put in our units. But Dr. Roberts invited me to be here at the high school so that I can really push in with our 7-8. So last summer with 7-8, Artful Learning came in and did an arts-based skills and strategies workshop with them for a week. And this year we're going to readdress those arts-based skills and strategies. So my plan with 7 and 8 is to model and to help them use these arts-based skills and strategies as an engagement point for teaching their Arkansas State standards. And then each 7-8 teacher will do one arts integration project with me during the first quarter, and then I'll monitor and adjust, see where they're at. And then for second semester, those that are kind of my advanced placement students, I'll encourage them to do one in third and fourth quarter. And those that need a little more scaffolding and support will do one more with me this school year. So that's kind of the goal that I've set with them. I'll be meeting in their PLCs every other week just because the schedule at the high school is a little bit different. So they have 3 preps and I have 5 groups to meet with. So I'll meet with some one week, some the next week, and we'll put them on an alternating wheel. So I'll also be in their PLCs to get them support as well.
Well done. Yes. Hi, Aaron Jones, also Director of Arts Integration and Museum Partnerships. We have a missing trifecta, Jamie Dale, that's also going to be working with us with professional development, which is very exciting for this year, as this is going to really have all of our teachers have the opportunity for this vertical alignment. And so that's a big emphasis. Yes, we have this incredible artful learning component that we have at the elementary. These kids are coming and have come and already at the high school level. So we have to be preparing for this so that when we do become this district of artful learning, everybody is on board. Now, we are not quite at the point to where we can have that entire district. That's why you have Katie coming over here from 7-8. Instead of the 9 through 12 being able to go through that, we are doing what we've done in the past before in working with A+, Arkansas A+. That is a national network as well, originally out of North Carolina. When I first came here almost 13 years ago, that was the network that we had used. And so we are going to have that team to come back. Now, they will not have the intensive that Artful Learning does. And you know, as well as we do, the 9-12 is a completely different layout from that type of thing. These teachers sometimes teach up to 6 preps. And so it's got to be done a little bit differently. So my position with them is to work with them almost like a singleton, to then kind of work with them to make sure that they understand the standards, understand what true arts integration is, work with those national core art standards that are Arkansas standards as well, and to get them to incorporate one true arts integration project per semester. so a spring and a fall. Great thing about this is that A+ as well as Artful Learning, the language is very, very similar. There are some things that are different, but overarching concepts. Lots of the things that we still kind of incorporate from all of the different art forms. So that is my job to then work with them, and that's what I will be doing, working with them. In addition to that, I'll be working with Jamie Dale to get to meet with all of the arts teachers, kindergarten through 12th grade while we're here. And this is an exciting opportunity because now we get to plan as a real art school, expectations, etiquette, what these standards truly are. We are going to replicate the school. We have to be on board so that they then know that this school that was relocated someplace else would have to be exactly the same. This is why we cannot just teach to the fields, right? So this is really an exciting time at this point. So Jamie, I wish you were here with us. So we have to kind of celebrate her to have this kind of, again, trifecta of all of us that have been working together. And thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Roberts.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So the method to this whole process is kind of giving you guys a little bit of insight to the planning we've been doing all summer long. So in school systems, it is a never-ending cyclical process. The school year ends, and then immediately we're already begin planning for how we're gonna pick up, debrief, pick up, and prepare for the next. So our intentionality in our advancement for this year is beginning now to sort of put all the pieces together and really codify what this model looks like. So we're prepared for that expansion phase that we've been talking about, and we'll talk more about in coming up. But all this whole room has been continually working since the end of school. It's a never-ending process. So I thank them for their dedication and their continued vision along this way, and I wanted to showcase that to you.
And Katie, let us know if you want us to come join one of your projects again, because I want to stick stickers on the wall again.
Well, I'm gonna try and have one every quarter,
Love it.
so second, third, and fourth, so I'll let the board know. Apparently, you'll see more of my face here, so I'll have my flyers next time and let you know when to come in,
Love
what
it.
we're doing. Come play anytime.
Susan, do we have any comments tonight? Okay, great. Moving on to the consent agenda. We didn't meet in June, so we have 2 financials and then the minutes from May. Does anybody have any questions about those? Or corrections? No? Okay. A motion to approve.
I motion to, are you wanting one at a time?
Do you need one at a time, Susan? Or we can just approve the whole consent agenda? No?
One at a.
Okay.
All at once, yes.
Yes, all at once.
I would move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, moving on to new business. Oh, we didn't do this last time, or we need to vote on the resolution for bank signatures?
So we need it in our minutes stating who we've agreed upon. So that wasn't documented in our minutes.
Okay, so we added Renee,
Renee.
right? And Susan, or just Renee?
So it's
Just Renee.
Renee and myself and you.
Yes, so we just had Dr. Roberts and I'm the treasurer. We had just had Dr. Roberts and I on the bank accounts and the checks. But Renee can't do her job if she cannot call the bank and ask questions, or there's a problem with a credit card that somebody's trying to use. They want to hear from me or Dr. Roberts, and we just can't get anything done. So we had talked about before with other board members that we needed to add Renee to the bank account. So we just need to make that official tonight. Does anybody have any questions about how that works? So she's our business manager and does all of our bank recs and everything like that. She doesn't sign checks, so it's just mainly so she can do her job and get the information she needs without going through one of us. So if there's no questions, we need a motion to approve adding Renee to the bank signature line. All approved. Oh, sorry. I can't do this. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? This is why we need Mark. All right.
Okay, the next one is just presentation, and I'm not gonna go through it. Basically, this is the school improvement plan that was submitted to the Department of Education. It's really a reflection of kind of Rachel's conversation, but also in general, looking as we move forward, how we continue to grow our students and our teaching expectations. The Department of Ed kind of set some categories. They want a literacy goal, they want a math goal, they want how we're going to address student engagement. And then we proceeded on, we have our special services, which is our special education 504, our ESOL. They had developed sort of a plan for their operations or how they're going to handle their diverse needs. That was pretty much a replication of what we've done in the past. We, as we discussed, Dr. Watts is now over that full time. So she's moved her office to the elementary, which is going to be very helpful because that's where the bulk of our student services are. So she will be managing the IEPs, the 504s, or reviewing some of the behavior needs for the 504s. She'll do the ESOL kids. She'll monitor all of that together. She'll input that in our continued school improvement plan. She'll keep a handle on that. She'll oversee both SPED departments in both campuses, but she's got an office over there. So we're fortunate to be able to bring her on full time in that role. So she's managing sort of our federal requirements with our special services, and then our kind of our wellness, family engagement plan that was in consult with our school nurses and our counselors. So how are we handling just community needs in general? While I'm thinking about it, Dr. Sharkey, I would like to talk to you about some of our nursing needs as far as medication distribution and collection. So I'll make myself a mental note. So our school improvement plan was submitted and accepted by the Department of Ed.
I did read through this, actually. Was there any major, I didn't notice any major changes. Was there any major changes we need to know about moving forward? Okay.
No, I mean, really, we want to continue to have high quality instruction. We want to keep our staff trained to deliver high quality instruction. We want to make sure we're meeting the needs of all of our diverse learners. We're wanting to move them up the academic scale per grade level. We're wanting to now really focus, because we did a great job of moving the lower level up. We want to now focus on moving the middle up to the higher level. So some of that enrichment and that academic enhancement is going to be consideration in all classrooms. You know, what do we do with those kids that are already there? How do we encourage them? Part of that's not putting them on a computer. Part of that's finding that academic pieces that will continue to make them critically think. So basically, it's all of those things. The next part, statement of insurances, basically what I need this into the minutes is that the board approves that as a school district, we are going to meet all the requirements by the Department of Education. They have added the constitutionally protected prayer as a requirement. The Department of Education has added that. So what that says is that because we receive federal funding and we are a public school, that we have to offer and have no policy that prevents or denies participation in prayer. So the exact wording is, we are stating the school district has no policy that prevents or otherwise denies participation in constitutionally protected prayer in public schools. So we don't. There's nothing in our board policy or in our school policies or in a handbook that we deny a student from having protected prayer. We do a moment of silence as a routine every day in our morning announcements. Whenever that comes, it's sometimes late morning. So in that silence period, students can pray if they choose to or not, but it's not prohibited.
Does anybody want to see this? This is just something we sign at the beginning of every year saying we're going to follow all the rules. Well, we have to approve it as a board that she's signing it for the rest of us.
Yeah, and then I'll submit the minutes to the Department of Ed.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the statement of assurances.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Susan, you're good with that. Does anybody have anything new they wanted to talk about tonight?
I'm bringing some new things in. Sorry, we haven't met in a minute, so I'm bringing some new things in. The first thing that I will need in minutes, just the acknowledgement of minutes is, and I did, because Adrian's the treasurer, I shared this with her and Mark, but due to our budget and how we've managed to push it together in a way that's been effective, we were able to give staff a 3% COLA increase. So that's a big thing for us.
Everybody.
So,
Yep.
we're really, it's been a tireless effort. I could not have done that without Renee. And the staff, honestly, the staff pulling together and helping us, create shortcuts and helping us understand we can't spend money and all those things. But we have the carryover balance to allow us to do it. And so we hope we can set a trend with that. So we're very proud of that. So I just need the board accepts the COLA increase as 3%.
I move to accept it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you for that. The, Dr. Mitchell mentioned some policy changes and I want to discuss them with you. I'm not going to print out the whole student handbook, but I just want to go over a few concepts that I would like to, up for consideration for approval. Part of our concern with some of our students that suffer from low deficit skill levels and really needing more intervention strategies is frequent absences. So we've got students that have, for example, a 504 or an IEP that has a lot of accommodations listed. And parents are, want those to be met, we want them to be met. But the only way they can be met is when that kid's in school. And the only way for us to build trajectory and develop brain patterns and habits and routines is when they're consistently at school. So in attendance also counts towards our report card score. So the Department of Ed looks at our attendance, they pull the records, nightly. They look at every kid that's attending and not. In our past policy, we had listed that there were absences that could be excused. Absences really aren't excused. Absences should be a requirement. We, as a state law, 10 days with consistent or inconsistent attendance, when the student's out 10 days in a row, we can drop them. We haven't done that a lot because we have really tried to keep in some communication with those families. So we realize if a student has a medical need, if they've been in the hospital, or if they've got they've had some residential treatment, or if they've got a story behind the absence that we understand and we've been in communication with, that's different than just a parent excuse for absence. And then they're 4 days behind, 5 days behind, 6 days behind. And then that creates this gap, and the gap continues to grow. So we're taking out the wording of excused. We will still have the process that parents can submit the medical note from their doctor, and that we will file that and we will evaluate that in the process of their being absent. It's all about communication with families. And so that's one part of the policy. We're going to take out that word excused. Going to put more onus on the parent to keep the communication with the school, and is also going to keep more, I think, emphasis on students attending school. So the process is the same. So we've got, I can list them out. We've got the taking away the unexcused. The other part is the checkout procedures. So, and this is specifically at elementary school. We have consistently got parents, we have parents that are checking kids out early because of not wanting to wait in car line.
Oh.
And we all know car line is a beast. But it's a process when you are a small school in a residential area. And for the most part, we have a lot of families that commute in. We have pickups, car pickups. When that happens and parents start checking out kids because they don't want to wait in line, it's a disruption for the end of the day at the classroom. Kids are called out. They don't get that final reflection from their teacher. It's a massive disruption at the front office because you've got kids lined up to check out. There's a lot of things that could happen in that time period, a safety concern or whatever, and it would be a disarray. So we're putting in policies that checking out, not only at the very end of the school, but that checking out students eventually adds up to a missed opportunity of learning. And so the exact wording that has been in there is students who are repeatedly checked out before the end of school day may be subject to attendance consequences in accordance with Arkansas Academy attendance policies. So that's vague enough that we can narrow that down to a specific situation, or it's also vague enough that we're just making a sort of a public announcement that we recognize this is not effective parenting, unless it's an emergency.
Is there a plan at parent meetings or whatnot? Maybe we're not writing it in policy, but to say a time. Like, if you show up here between 2:30 and 3, sorry, I don't have an elementary kid. What time are you guys done?
We're finished at 3:30. We communicate regularly with our parents that we ask them to please not check out after 3 o'clock. So we do have parents, they know they have an appointment that's at 3:15, but they'll get there at like 2:50 so they can get their kids before then. Because I mean, if you come into our elementary office after 2:30, you'll see Ty standing up over all the bus lists, and he has 15 lists trying to figure out which kid's going where, communicating that with classrooms and making sure they're safe. So we don't have many people that do it anymore, but we do have a couple that do it regularly, and they're like, well, I can check my kid out, which they can, and if they want to push it, they can. But we also can have further communication in more place than one.
I've actually been on 2 different security PDs lately where this is the big discussion. The attendance, but also this disruption from a safety standpoint at the afternoon, because you are opening yourself up to so much more when you have potential unidentified adults coming into your school that time of day and you're about to dismiss an entire building, right? So from a safety perspective, that's where this has come up. And so there's been a lot of back and forth about, do we just ban it, right? And then you can't really do that. That's not really an option. You can't tell parents they can't come pick up their kids. So I don't know.
We've just never had it in policy before. We've never had the language in a spot where we could refer to it to say, it's in policy. We should check our policy. So I feel like there are going to be situations where we all know that can think of some that we would need that immediate checkout. We just don't want to encourage bad habits to continue without having a statement to fall back on.
So while we don't write it, we say to our parents, please do not schedule these appointments.
Do everything you can do.
And if you do, vendors their children will be held after school.
You have to come and meet with us and try to get your car out of the parking lot during car lessons.
Yeah, I mean, I was
No, but it's
saying, I don't know if I want to go on record. Right. Okay, their child getting checked out? Not really.
Yeah.
Slow walking down the mall. And this is kudos to elementary staff. We have invested in an incredible program that parents get in line, they scan the QR code, it tells the computer screens where their kids are in the list, when the cards are rolling up. Staff is diligent about being out there and managing this list, so it is its own entity, dismissal. And when those checkouts happen, it breaks the system. So then there's glitches and then the bus and then so, I mean, but that happens everywhere. We're not the only one. We're just needing, I need a statement in our policy that says this is not what will be effective for our school.
And I would like to also know that you guys are addressing it with parents from a security standpoint.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, it's not safe for your kids, for you to just be walking up, 30 minutes before, and now you're parking on the side of the street and trying to, I mean, it happens up here too, right? This, I'll pick you up downtown. It's like, we can't prevent all of that, but, so what's the statement that we're
I'm
looking
just,
to add at
I'm
this
just
part?
adding it in that students who are repeatedly checked out before the end of the school day may be subject to attendance consequences in accordance with Arkansas Arts Academy attendance policies. So basically it's broad. And above that, parents and guardians are encouraged to schedule appointments and other activities outside of the school day. Consistently checking students out before the end of the instructional day results in the loss of valuable learning time and may negatively impact academic progress. So I think it.
Can we go back to the attendance one that's more at the high school? What are we adding to the attendance piece?
So at the high school, I'll get to the high
We're
school.
taking out the word,
This is for absences. This is for the letters and the unexcused absence. I will show you what we're gonna do for high school.
so does any, before we add more to our plate here?
Yeah, you wanna vote on one by one?
No, not necessarily. Just does
No.
anybody have any more comments about the unexcused absences? And what's the change to the parent?
I mean, I guess with Rogers Public School, all absences were absences. Were
So
unexcused.
that's what I'm seeing every
Absences and
district go to.
Yeah.
They're all unexcused and you only have
Yeah.
so many of them. Sorry, not sorry.
Right,
Yeah.
that's the point. At a high school or middle school,
Yeah,
everything's unexcused. Everything's unexcused. And
Right.
that gives us, as Dr. Roberts said, that gives us the enforcement
right.
to count it against them or not count it against them.
Okay,
It's
that's
like,
what I was
it's
looking
like
for.
you're on the highway, you're doing 75, some police officers will pull you, others won't.
Sure, right.
So it's about enforcement, and that's what the whole policy is about.
So
Is
do we have any kind of days written in on once you reach X number of?
So
Let
in,
me tell you something, they'll start counting class periods.
Yeah.
Cause I don't think it's actually days, it's periods.
Yeah.
You have missed 10
Well,
first periods.
to be fair, I actually like that better because we have kids that will
Correct.
just show up at 9:30.
Yeah.
Like,
it goes.
and not drive themselves here.
High school, remember, high school goes by credits. So if you missed so many in one first hour, you missed first hour so many times, you lose credit for that first hour.
we do that in policy, more than 10 absences in any course may result in loss of credit.
Great, I think that
And
gives you the
then
power.
we
of
have the
saying
option
yes
to
or no.
have them come do seat time afterwards. On one of our breaks, you're about to lose credit. Even if they have good grades, because there are some kids who can miss 15, 20 days and still get a B, remarkably. But the thorn with that is then you've missed so many hours, we're gonna make you come back and just sit here for this many hours and make it up. So that just gives us leeway to enforce that and make sure that the kids are actually here in attendance, even if they're just sitting there.
Is everybody good with the first two changes? Any more questions on that?
I've got 3 more, and I don't think they're gonna be controversial, at least I hope not. First one, we mentioned it last time, is deliveries to students, and DoorDash.
We said no to
specifically.
that.
We said no, but I put it in official policy, so, or it's in the language. So deliveries to students, flowers, gifts, personal items, and it could be food, will be kept in the main office until school is dismissed. Unless it's an emergency, which could be like an EpiPen or something like that, unless it's an emergency. Food deliveries, including DoorDash, Uber Eats, etc., are not permitted during the school day. Deliveries may be refused or held until the end of the day.
They will be put on our new principal's desk as payment for having to deal with the Uber delivery driver.
I think it's, yeah.
Get the Taco Bell.
I gotta get the Taco Bell.
I personally want, like, saying that, No, we're not holding it for you, like, we're not, like,
No, I think you do hold it,
Well,
because
it's
then
their
they get
property, they pay
charged.
for it. Yeah,
Someone's paying for it.
Someone's paying
Because if you
for it.
refuse it, they don't
Then
get
some-
charged.
actually,
It's more interesting to pick up your cold hamburger at the end of the day anyway, so.
Yeah.
That's a form of investment.
I was gonna say, then the front office has to deal with it, is that a problem?
Well, I think right now for Susan to be arm wrestling Uber drivers out front of the school, it's not worth it. If it gets to be a point where we beginning to have a food
Like, yeah, if
pantry,
it's
then we
stacking
can
up,
deal with
like
that.
you have teddy bears and balloons and
I don't-
hamburgers, this is stacking up.
I did put a caveat on exceptions are made for parents delivering forgotten lunch boxes. There will be an occasional
Sure.
student that has forgotten their lunchbox.
Chromebook or whatever, I mean,
Um,
parents are different.
But this is very different than what we've been dealing with. So that is the delivery piece.
I can't believe we have to put this in policy these days.
The
No
other
Uber
part of this is we are putting in there for safety concerns, students are not allowed, this is high school, to check out for lunch and return back to campus. We cannot do that. We cannot do that for safety reasons. We don't need them going downtown,
No
vaping in the
campus, so.
bathroom. We don't
Yeah,
need
this isn't
any
an
of that.
open campus.
Nope. So that is the checking out for lunch, and then this will probably be the most legwork for the elementary. Due to limited seating capacity and safety concerns, parents are not allowed to eat with their student at AAA.
Oh, dear.
Unless it is a advertised school-wide event, Thanksgiving, or a holiday party. So what is happening right now is, none fault to elementary, it has been building up over past years, because we don't have a policy. Parents will come in with mom, aunt, cousin, grandpa, and they all bring Chick-fil-A and they want to sit down somewhere and eat with the student. No room. Or parents will want to sit down in the cafeteria, which we have less room. And disruption is big. Not every kid has a parent that will do that. So it's identifying groups of parents or groups of kids that have no parental, whatever you call that. And it's really hard to manage the safety part of it. Food allergies, any kind of thing, it's just impossible. But space and safety are the biggest issue.
Time that it takes to. I mean, there's enough events. I mean, we've got a whole handful here that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay?
What about, are you having a bunch check out your kids at lunchtime?
We did put that in there. If they want to eat with their student, like if this is a special day, they can check the student out, eat with their parents off campus.
I would be
And bring
concerned
them back.
about putting that in for elementary when we just told upper school they
We
can't.
can eliminate that.
I wouldn't put it in policy. I wouldn't stop a parent, like nobody's gonna stop a parent from checking out their kid for their birthday. We can't do that. But I wouldn't write it in policy that we're suggesting you check your kid out for
Okay.
lunch, because we
Alright.
can't
Just
manage the
leave that out,
space,
yeah.
but then the older
Say
kids
that.
can't.
I mean, I guess the older kids' parents could kind of check them out too. I mean, it's just not.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
not
the
letting the
kids
kids have an
check
open campus
Yeah.
and they can go about their day.
Go self-check.
So, last but not least, we have never really enforced this, but I think it's high time. Eligibility for extracurricular. So right now, we could because we're an art school and we want our kids to be doing all the things, but kids could be failing a class and still get up on stage and participate. That is we're sending a message that somehow they both don't balance out. Academics are just as important as our arts. So what this says, we have had it in our policy as far as Arkansas Arts Academy follows eligibility guidelines as established by the Arkansas Activities Association, AAA. Additional Arkansas Arts Academy requirements apply to ensure students maintain academic and behavioral expectations. So that's been vague. What I would like to add is to be eligible for participation in performances, competitions, and extracurricular activities, students must meet the following criteria throughout the year. Maintain a minimum 2.5 GPA from the previous semester. Have no current school suspensions. are not currently failing any classes, have no more than 5 missing assignments per class, and have not received any disciplinary actions for truancy within the semester. So basically, you're doing your work, you're keeping up with your assignments, you're not truancy, you're not truant, you're not skipping classes, you're not coming in tardy, all those things. You're not failing, you have no suspensions, like you shouldn't, you're not sneaking into the campus because you've been suspended, which is another thing the administration has to monitor, and you are maintaining a 2.5, which is pretty low, honestly, but still, you are maintaining a passing GPA.
What are the AAA rules on the GPA?
The
Is this-
GPA is 2.5.
2.5, okay. So as a school who competes in choir, you're required to follow the AAA. I don't know why we would hold any of our other students to a different standard. We would hold them all to the same standard, even though our other arts don't fall under AAA rules. I don't know why we wouldn't.
They're just not, our other arts aren't sanctioned AAA.
Right, they aren't sanctioned. Only choir is sanctioned, right, in the arts
Yes.
sector. Only choir is sanctioned under AAA. But I don't know why we would say, well, these kids have to follow those rules and the other kids don't. Does anybody have questions
I
about?
mean, that's fine. I don't think you even need that justification.
Yeah.
Like, why would we? I just think it's
Straight up.
Yeah.
Okay, those are all my changes.
I do have one question, sorry,
Okay.
on the 2.5, say they came in at a 2.2 the semester before and they're currently in a choir or show, whatever. They're out for that whole semester, or is there any remediation where they, they're showing they're on track for a 3 or a 2.8 or something?
That's a good question. I
Out
think,
for the whole semester.
I
I think
think,
it's for
Okay.
AAA, yeah.
Okay.
I think the intent of that is they're maintaining, like, during the semester, they might have some fluctuations, but they're working to get it. But at the end of the semester,
And they're out
You're-
for the whole next semester.
The
And like-
intent behind it is they didn't have the time to they didn't take the time or have the time to focus on the
Yeah.
academics, so.
Yeah, no, it's,
Okay.
yeah, it's an unfortunate. And like, if you don't have, I have 6 kids, so I've experienced a lot of. If they don't have the 2.5 at the end of the spring semester, they don't get to try out for the fall semester even. So like, it has very overreaching.
And I think we write this up, when we're very open with our families about it, it might be a driver for some to help our high school administration kind of move the needle on some of these kids that are doing really well in the art classes, but maybe not as enthusiastic about math and English.
we can eliminate that statement if you feel like it's gonna be too limiting. I think there's something important to say about that they're maintaining consistency. Like they recognize that they got through a semester, that did good, they're maintaining that work into the second semester, and so they have consistency. We can,
I'm not suggesting you soften it or make any exceptions, I just wanted to.
how we manage that.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if we've got some kids that sort of, and rightly so, we're in art school. They love the arts. They don't love some of their other classes. And they come to school for the arts. Go ahead, Dr.
I was just gonna say a lot, being a former athlete and doing all that stuff, a lot of that, there's an appeals process. So if you do have a 2.4 and the next semester you're a 3.5 and busted it, you can go to an appeal and say, are we meeting that? And then that gives you gives the administration the opportunity to say, yeah, you've done that, you've maintained it, you've come along. So you reward, the appeals process allows the district to award the kid for getting after it.
I would, especially
So-
the example that you gave about if you were at 2.4, 2.3 at the end of the spring semester, not being allowed because there would be a way, you could go to summer school or whatever, there would be a way to get that up So not being allowed to try out or for something is different than participating. So if you have a goal to reach and you could remediate that way, like go to summer school, get your grade up, and then you already made the choir, but it's contingent on whether you can get your grade up in time for the fall.
And for all practical purposes, for the one AAA thing, which is choir here, you're self-reporting, right? You're self-reporting that they are failing, and so we're not gonna let them. So really, this just gives our administrators the kind of backing. At any point, you can look at the grades and say, you know what, they had a really bad semester for whatever reason, and we're not holding them out of it. Nobody's gonna know that. The policy just gives them the ability
Yeah, I
to.
think that's fine. I think as long as the language allows those kinds of decisions to be made by the
We
school.
can put in, can we have something that like, something about best judgment by
Administrative process, because yes, you have kids that love and thrive because of the arts. And
Correct.
so if they fall short of that, just a little bit with no way of recovering for a whole
That's not
semester,
right.
that can really put a kid under.
Yeah.
When that is the one thing that keeps them passionate about school at all.
If we could just add a line
Add in
about agreements process with.
I wouldn't even call out, you don't wanna put a
Agreements, I would
bunch for
say,
it, yeah,
um,
administrative overtime or
Appeal.
something.
yeah, okay, I'll add administrative appeal to that. That's all I have.
We need a motion.
We do. Are there any more questions on all these? No? Okay. We need a motion to approve the changes to the handbook. 5 changes to the handbook.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Susan, are you good?
Really quickly, we are about to begin an incredible partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northwest Arkansas. I'm very excited about that. They came to us wanting a partnership, and our new counselor is going to be excellent at navigating it. So what they're looking for is about 15 high school kids, 9th through 12th grade, that are interested in partnering with a student at the elementary school. And so they're going to come in and they're going to train the kids are going to apply. They're going to come in and do the interviews for the kids. They're going to pick out 15 strong. They're going to train them. And then one day a week, going to be transported over or drive themselves over to the elementary. They're going to be matched with a student over there. And a representative from Big Brother, Big Sister will be there all the times that they're there. And they'll do event, relationship building, all those kind of things throughout the year. So we're really excited about that. That's unique. We're really greatly thrilled that Rue's World is elementary and they're partnering. So the 3 of us are going to create this really great experience. Kids are going to get the mentorship and the training they need. It's going to look good on their college applications. It's going to look good as far as building up their self-esteem and their leadership capacity and things like that.
And they're never left alone with the elementary kids. That's
Nope.
always an adult.
Always a representative from Big Brother, Big Sister, and they will also do the background checks on the kids. So I think it's a great partnership. And then I hate to do this, but I need 1 minute of your time in executive session.
Does anybody else have anything new before we go into executive session? All right, we will be right back. of y'all's favorite part. We don't have anything to vote on. So if nobody has anything else, we will take a motion to adjourn.
I'm really good at this. I moved to adjourn.
All approved.
Aye.
All those. Thank you. Thanks everyone for attending.